Hi guys, it's Tao from Shine Bright Design, and this is my commentary journal series. This is episode 4, and the piece you're currently viewing is a piece from Inktober. So this piece is my second piece for Inktober, and the video you are currently watching is a commentary that I've started doing for my channel. So I think it's more interesting if you guys can see the artist's raw, unscripted feedback and process on the footage that I'm seeing currently. I think it's really genuine if you guys can see my reaction and see what I'm thinking. I'm using this journal to really learn from my weaknesses and strengths and learn better ways that I can do my artworks by revising my work, revising how I could have handled things or how I could do things a lot better. So I'm going to be talking about the process. I'm going to be talking about things that I struggled with and things that I really enjoyed. And it's really like a self-reflecting journal. And I think it'd be really interesting if you guys, are part of that journey or hear that side of my artist process. So guys, I hope you enjoy the commentary journal. And if you have any questions, just comment below. So what I like about this piece is that it's a piece from Camila Manga coloring book, and I think it's such a sweet drawing. The girl has ice cream on her head and she's sharing her ice cream with her little bison cow thingy, and I think it's a really sweet drawing. It's really drawn in a very innocent style. It's very sweet. I love it for that sense. And I really enjoyed coloring it because it had so many nice aspects of it and so many parts that I enjoyed doing. The skin here looks quite strange, and when I was doing it I was like, oh no, it's too dark, oh no, it's too olive, and that was one of my major concerns. But for me, I think it's slightly a bit of fear. And over time, I think when you start adding other aspects of the coloring, it starts to look more normal. It starts to look less daunting. And I just kept pushing through because when I was looking at it, it did look very scary being unfinished. But I knew I just had to keep going. And when I kept going and I added all the hair, the details of the bison, the ice cream, it kind of came together in the end. So a lot of what I'm trying to get through, my point is that sometimes when you're doing artworks and you're really hesitant of how it's looking, you think there's a certain sense of doubt that it's going to turn out how you want. But at the end of the day, if your process is right, if you're doing everything correct, your colors look fine, they're gradiated correctly, they're shaded correctly and everything. As long as you don't have like blue skin or orange skin, I guess that's fine. But it will soon come together. And you know what? When I started putting in this blue for the hair, I started seeing that. My fears, my doubts really started to go away. When I come across this issue a lot, when I'm doing skin, and I don't have other aspects of the piece finished, the skin looks really scary. It makes me really nervous, and I'm really daunted by the idea that maybe I screwed up. But at the same time, you just got to keep going with it. You can't doubt yourself, and there's really no turning back. So you got to make do with what you got and kind of just go with the flow. That's my main, I guess, motto when coloring. Just go with the flow. Don't try to control things. Just let colors, let your instinct just push you through. Generally towards the very end, that's when I start thinking I need to be selective with colors, and just go with the flow, of course, but I need to be selective with colors that complement what's already been laid down. But generally when it comes to starts and finish, I kind of just go with how I feel and I just go with the flow. I pick colors on the spot and I just go with how I'm feeling, what my decisions are, and what I feel the drawing is going, whether it's a very colorful piece or a very like dark and gloomy piece, or a very pale like piece. So here I chose blue hair to complement the tan skin. Now I could have done like pink or blonde or anything like that, but I had this idea that I wanted to have strawberry ice cream, mint ice cream, bubblegum ice cream on her head. So I thought, if I'm having those flavors on top, I really need to be considerate of what hair color I choose. So having that foresight in mind, I was selective with the hair color. So the eyes here were not difficult, but when you see the way that Camila Dorico draws her eyes, they're very much finished. There's already shading done by the pencil work and everything. You just need a bit of color on top. So there's not much for you when it comes to applying detail. To kind of bring the whole manga thing together, I went in with a Posca pen to just emphasize those eyelashes and the line work, just to make those lines really crisp and clear. What I like about Camila Dorico's coloring book is, well, I did say this in my last commentary, is that her style is so loose. Her drawings are very sketch-like, and so you don't feel like you're locked into a certain design or image or feature of her drawings, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. So if you want to remove aspects or you want to add aspects, it's very easy. So what I do here with the ice cream is I'm using one texture, but I'm using the paper and I'm using the ink in creating multiple layers to create saturation. And the areas that are most saturated are the darkest. And that's how you can use textures in a way that creates shadow and definition without having multiple colors of textures to create shadow and definition. You can use layers of the same color in the same area. So like when a lot of those people on YouTube do 3-color marker challenge, or what you say, like whatever it's called, it's, to me, the challenge isn't that hard because you can still create tons of shading and dimension with 3 colors, because textures, you can layer your textures so that you create that shadow and dimension. It's not that hard, but a lot of people think it's very difficult. But really, it's just the more you put ink in one area, the darker it is. So when people do backgrounds, it's hard to create a background that's evenly blended, because the more a certain area has of a certain ink, the darker it is. So you have to be mindful of that. So generally I kind of stay away from doing backgrounds in textures because it can be patchy. So here's that bubblegum ice cream that I was talking about. And here I'm actually using a color from Chameleon Markers, because in my Copic marker set, I actually don't have anything that looks somewhat close to a chameleon marker. I think here I kind of demonstrated a little bit of the Chameleon Markers new technology. If you guys aren't familiar with Chameleon pens, I do have a Chameleon Marker review, but if you stick around and subscribe to my channel, you'll be seeing more Chameleon Marker tutorials in like textures for Inktober. And I can tell you now that I'm really enjoying Chameleon Markers. A lot of people talk about how the Chameleon Markers are too fussy, they're too hands-on, they take too much time. True, but if you if you were thinking about how much time it takes to blend out skin from light to dark, the Chameleon marker can do that for you in one go with one marker. And that's what I really like about it. So here, when I was doing the bison, I do have a regret. I do regret using that darker brown, because I feel like I'm slowly getting into the rhythm of markers. I forget certain functionalities and principles of markers. So instead of using that brown, I could have just layered multiple layers of a certain ink and kept it quite caramelly instead of that brown color. But in the end, it didn't look that bad. I did end up layering that sepia color beneath the raw umber and blend it out. But the thing is, it's not really blended out because you can see the distinction between the two browns. But in the end, I don't mind it. I think it's still quite a sweet picture. It's not that hard on the eyes. But if I had to change anything going back, I would not use that darker brown on the face of the cows or bison. I would just use layered techniques of that sepia brown color that I have currently now in my hand. And I would just slowly have built up those layers and saturated the different first strokes. Because you can see in certain aspects of the cow, you can see those different first strokes and how they're different colors, the different tints or tones or shades or whatever of that brown. And so I really didn't need to have that raw umber in the piece. I could have just stuck with the one texture marker. So when you guys stress out about not having enough texture colors, it's not really the case. You can definitely create shadow with a pack less than 30. It's just about knowing where to shade and what colors to use. I actually like how I did this tulle skirt. The way that Faber Castell Pitt pens are is they're used for typography and they're used for fine detail, but they also layer really nicely on top of each other like so. And this layering technique, where certain parts are dark and certain parts are light, really makes me feel like, oh, this is so tulle-like. It's very much like a ballerina skirt. And I really hit it on the nail with that technique using those markers. So if you're trying to achieve a tulle skirt look, I think Pitt pens will help you achieve that, because one, they have such a fine tip, and two, they just layer so nicely. And then I'm going in with my favorite trusty Posca pen and creating some loose hair waves and streaks just to create some dimension. And then some highlights on the cow. All in all, I do really enjoy this piece. I think it's a great piece. It's colorful, it's bright, it's cute. You know, it's such a nice coloring book. And if you guys want to purchase it, I definitely recommend you to purchase it if you're really into manga. I grew up with manga, so this book is something that I do enjoy. The sweet, cute little pictures of the characters, and it's just such a nice coloring book. I do recommend it. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and click on that notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos. So that's all from me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.